I was in Miami when I read the memo on the MSNBC website. So
it's that easy.
It's that easy. But they never think about it coming back and biting them in the ass.
And that's the thing, John. Like, I think it's well documented long before I ever knew you, like looking at John Brennan's career and the kinds of things he did, to say nothing of the stuff that you've illuminated for many of us since then. There's no doubt. All right, we're back. I haven't gotten your thoughts on your very good friend John Brennan now being in the crosshairs of...
He is. That's the way to say it. He's in the crosshairs of the Trump Justice Department. A couple of things I've noticed about John Brennan over the last couple of weeks. So he was challenged at George Mason University in Arlington, Virginia, by a Republican congressional candidate who I had never heard of and who didn't come close to winning anything. But the guy legitimately challenged him over, his role in the memo on a couple things. The memo on the Hunter Biden laptop, or the letter, I guess it is, and on the CIA's analysis that Russia was behind the Trump election. In the video that was shared widely on Twitter, Brennan actually pokes the guy in the chest several times. Besides that being assault, that was the first time in the 35 years that I've known John Brennan that I ever saw him lose his composure. Ever.
It's getting to him.
It's getting to him. He went on MSNBC that night looking exhausted and old beyond his years. And he disingenuously said, I don't know why they're doing this to me. I don't understand. I didn't do anything wrong. I mean, even by MSNBC standards, it was not believable or credible. And then just a few days later, some reporter shouted a question at him. It wasn't a reporter. It was in the Metro. It was a guy who may have been a reporter now in retrospect. Anyway, whoever it was a guy in the Metro. And Brennan went after him, went up to him with his finger and raised voice. A buddy of mine called, who's an attorney, and said, what do you make of, the John Brennan of the last couple of weeks? And I said, he's scared.
Yeah.
That's what this is. He's scared because they're going to find something to charge him with. And not only will they charge him, they have moved the case to the Southern District of Florida. Now remember, you have to charge the case in the federal district where the crime was allegedly committed.
Hey guys, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It's a huge help. Thanks, and enjoy the rest of the show.
But what they did, I'll give you an example. In the case of Jeffrey Sterling, the CIA whistleblower, they said that he had leaked classified information to James Risen of the New York Times. Risen then wrote a book. A CIA secretary bought the book in Virginia, so charged him in Virginia. Well, Jeffrey lived in St. Louis. Risen worked in Bethesda, Maryland, and the New York Times is in New York. They charged him in Virginia. So they play these little games all the time.
Right.
Well, guess what? The game can be flipped. And so the U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, whom Trump just fired recently, said, I'm not seeing a crime. I'm not seeing a case. The investigation's not going anywhere. We're going to drop it. Okay, you're fired, and we're transferring the case to Florida. Because all you have to do is say, yeah, John Brennan coordinated that Hunter Biden laptop memo. I was in Miami when I read the memo on the MSNBC website. So
it's that easy.
It's that easy. But they never think about it coming back and biting them in the ass.
And that's the thing, John. Like, I think it's well documented long before I ever knew you, like looking at John Brennan's career and the kinds of things he did, to say nothing of the stuff that you've illuminated for many of us since then. There's no doubt in my mind that he's not a good guy.
No.
And that he has done a lot of things that could absolutely be taken into court and have a case made against it. And the anger at some of the things that he's done, of course, makes me want that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
What I worry about is all the cases that I think I righteously criticized that they were using with Lawfare to make against Trump and people around him for years there, strictly because they didn't like him. I now have to be consistent in my criticism of the Lawfare because it feels like we have now...
The pendulum is swinging.
The pendulum is swung, and we are setting dangerous precedents of political retribution, so much so that you have guys like Steve Bannon coming out and saying to people, if we don't win in 2028, people in this room are going to prison. And this is the same guy who's trying to go on there and talk about doing a third term for Trump, which is like against the whole fucking Constitution.
Can't do it. I want to read to you just a couple of sentences from former Attorney General of the United States and Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, Robert Jackson. Okay. He said something that was very famous. He was also one of the judges at the Nuremberg trials. This is like one of the most important judges we've ever had, ever. Actually, let me find it. But he said something at a dinner event for attorneys. His speech was called The Federal Prosecutor. And I think I found it. He said a couple things in this speech. He said, "It is not the function of government to keep the citizen from falling to error. It is the function of the citizen to keep the government from falling to error." And to me, this is the most important thing he said. "With the law books filled with a great assortment of crimes, a prosecutor stands a fair chance of finding at least a technical violation of some act on the part of almost anyone.
Yes.
In such a case, it is not a question of discovering the commission of a crime and then looking for the man who has committed it. It's a question of picking the man and then searching the law books or putting investigators to work to pin some offense on him."
Oh, that's the Stalin bar. Show me the man, I'll show you the crime.
And there it is.
Oh my God.
And here we are, 85 years later, still having the same debates.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now let me make that personal for a minute. You fucking hate that guy.
I do.
And righteously so. I hate him for you.
He ruined my life.
John Brennan.
Yeah.
He ruined your life. He, I believe, committed crimes, by the way, to ruin your life. If you look at the emails with him and Eric Holder and just some of the stuff he did. It's a guy who runs out and says, yeah, we shouldn't torture people when he wrote the fucking torture
He was the godfather of the torture
yeah,
program.
Yeah. Is there a part of you that would just love vengeance there?
Oh, yeah. I would love to see John Brennan go to prison. Even if it was just for a day or a week, just to be dragged down into the muck like he did to me and to Jeffrey Sterling and to Ed Snowden and so many of the rest of us. On the other hand, I believe in Robert Jackson and what he said. And I think that's what makes America great.
Yes.
That's what makes us the greatest country in the world, is we're governed by the rule of law. If he has legitimately committed crimes, and I believe he has, he should be prosecuted. If there are others who are under investigation, who are subject to prosecutors scouring the law books looking for a crime, I would prefer not to see something like that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels it's scaring me a little bit.
Yeah.
The vitriol and anger, and it's human.
I asked a friend of mine, I have a friend at the Justice Department who's not working on the Brennan case, but who, has friends and colleagues who are. And I said, why hasn't Brennan been charged yet? I mean, they charged Comey with some silly crime that's probably going to get thrown out. Why haven't they charged Brennan? And he said, because they want to get that one right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They have an interesting perspective on Brennan. Most federal crimes have a 5-year statute of limitations. Most. What we've heard Brennan would be charged with has either a 5-year or a 1-year statute of limitations. I mean, they're talking about contempt of Congress. Big deal. The federal sentencing guideline calls for no prison time.
Right.
So who cares if he was in contempt of Congress? I don't care. Lying to Congress. He probably has crossed the statute of limitations. They probably can't charge him. But what their idea is that the Hunter Biden laptop memo, the Russia NIE, the Russia analysis was all part of an ongoing conspiracy to deny American voters their duly elected president. So the statute of limitations keeps restarting itself every day, so long as this conspiracy continues. And honestly, I think they've got him on that.
That's the thing. I think they might too. And this is where it gets weird for me, because no man's above the law, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
That's right.
It should be that
we sent
way.
a vice president of the United States to prison.
Yeah, that was
Spiro Agnew.
Spiro Agnew, right? They got the Greek guy.
Yeah, but he wasn't Orthodox, so it doesn't count.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But like, I look at that and I go, is the slippery slope of letting a man like John Brennan be above the law worse than the slippery slope
Right.
of the precedents that we are setting across the board right now? And it's almost like, and people at home don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this either, especially when it comes to a guy like John Brennan. But it's almost like somebody here, we used this example for something else earlier, but someone here has to be the Martin Luther King and just be like,
We're
no
big.
more.
We're bigger than this.
We're not doing this, because it's making, we're othering each other in this country.
See, and that's exactly why Joe Biden should have pardoned Donald Trump. So many people believed that's what he was going to do. Just like Gerald Ford pardoned Richard Nixon for the betterment of the country.
Yes.
Bring the American people back together again. Joe Biden should have pardoned all of those Republicans.
I agree.
And he didn't.
I agree.
I agree with you really very much on this issue, that at the end of the day, what's more important is the strength of the country and the unity of the country. It was a mistake to charge Donald Trump with 34 felonies for not filling out a friggin' form for the state business commission or whatever the heck it was. That was dumb. It was a mistake to charge him. I don't even remember what the crime was alleged in Georgia. What was that? Oh, he called the Georgia Secretary of State and said, find the votes. Okay, he was excitable that day. It was the election. That's not a crime. That's just a guy having a bad day.
Yeah.
Comey, I understand they hate Comey. Comey's an idiot, frankly. For being as smart as he is, he's really stupid at the same time.
Yeah.
Like to take a picture of the shells, 8647. What the fuck are you thinking?
He's a moron.
You moron.
Yeah. Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge, huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.